I get a lot of questions of people asking me the best way to rank up in solo queue, and I can say from my own personal experience, solo queue is just kind of bullshit. Not really bullshit, but there is no real random trick or skill or strategy to leveling up. Assuming you're not a grandmaster playing on a Smurf account and just generally being better than everyone at everything, you will always be shackled to the gods of fate when it comes to your teammates and ranking up in competitive Overwatch. This footage of this video, I'm showing you basically clip after clip of me kicking a ton of ass and then dying, or my team ended up losing. So it's just kind of an exact example of the fact that even though you're trying your absolute damnedest to carry your entire team, luck is a huge factor. And if you're playing with 11 other randoms, then luck is the biggest factor. One of the benefits of playing with a group is that you are actually minimizing the luck factor in Overwatch. By having different teamworks and strategies, you are making your chances of winning more reliant on how well you guys are at communicating and strategizing and working together, and very much not the case of getting a random person who doesn't want to work with the team, which is just insanely common. You would hope it would be less common in competitive than it is in quick match, and I think it is to a certain degree. But realistically, going solo and being matched with mostly other solo queuers, everyone, like I said, unless you're Grandmaster Smurfing, everyone basically has a 50% chance to win. And that means every single game is basically just a coin toss. And I think we've all seen this in action. We've all had tremendous losing sprees, and if you're anything like me, that doesn't really seem to be counterbalanced by massive winning sprees, but maybe I'm just unlucky. Maybe, you know, we all think the world is out to get us. I'm sure it's just in my own head. I feel like I don't have winning sprees when I seem to get a losing spree every fucking day. But I'm sure that's just in my own head. The point is, when you've got basically everyone with 50% chance to wins, your best bet of not losing the game is by trying to work with your team and, well, first of all, obviously not succumbing to rage yourself, but making sure your teammates doesn't, making sure you don't get salty and playing poorly. But for the most part, it's always going to be luck is the biggest factor. Now, I'm sure people are assuming, you know, I can see the comments now. There's going to be people saying this like, well, maybe you're just bad. You know, I've ranked up really successfully and consistently in with my solo matches, with my solo queues, because I'm really good. Now, personally, I've gone from playing with a game of all silvers, I think I was a platinum at the time, to playing in a game of mostly masters with a handful of grandmasters. I don't think I've seen bronze, at least I don't think I saw bronze last season in any individual game. That tells me that my rank is a pretty poor indicator of skill. If you match that with, like where else do you see that? Where else do you see someone playing against elementary school football players, and then in the same season being matched against the fucking Dallas Cowboys? Like, to go from almost as low as you can go to the very highest professional end of the spectrum to be the people that you're playing with and against on your team, that just tells me that rank is a poor indicator of where you actually fall in the skill spectrum. And you know, like I said, that's because you are leaving the game almost entirely up to chance when you are playing without a team. When you're playing with mostly luck in happenstance and who you get matched against and not having any strategy, your best bet to winning isn't necessarily playing your best character, although you should, you know, probably be doing that if you can. Your best bet to be winning is really to be trying to galvanize the team into action, like try and be the team leader. And unfortunately, you know, when you play against other randoms, other people want to be the leader, people don't want to listen, you get people leaving and quitting and not caring about the game, and it's just so fucking random. To have such a massive discrepancy in the people you're playing against in a single season basically boils down to you're flipping a coin 50% again and again and again. And even the best player isn't just gonna win a coin toss 10 times in a row and just get up to Grandmaster. When you play solo queue against people who you are skilled against, even if you do a bunch of practice every day and you do suddenly start trying to convince your team to start having teamwork, you're still buffing that, increasing that chance to win from like 50% to like 60%. And if you try to win a 60% coin toss time and time again in a row, you are still just massively succumbing to the winds of fate. Like, you are not going to be always represented. Some people are just going to have entirely bad seasons, and I understand that happens, but I think, to me, this realization has actually... It's sort of made me much less stressed out about my rank. I used to, like, hope that people in my videos would see, like, no, God, I have to, like, at least be master so that people can see how good I am. And so that I'll be justified in saying some of the things correctly. And I've spent, like, the first season, I got almost up to Grandmaster, which, again, I don't think that was indicative of my skill either, because I had played the beta, so I think I had, regardless of my skill at first-person shooters, I just had a massive leg up from knowing maps and characters and all that shit. So I was almost Grandmaster first season. Second season came around, I couldn't play much, so I got, like, a Platinum. By the time Season 3 came around, that's when I got placed in, like, I think I got placed in high gold, and then that's when I dropped down to playing with silvers, and then eventually I was able to get myself back up to master, and then I lost, like, points on top. Like, I with my 300 hours in Season 3, like, I just swung wildly up and down, and I just could not help but laugh after that, because you look at that, and you realize, like, no matter whether or not you're high or low, whether or not you actually belong in silver or belong in master, you are almost never having your skill correctly represented by your rank. It's just always where you currently are in the coin tosses. And once you realize that, competitive actually becomes a lot less stressful, which maybe is a bad thing. I know I've definitely... I'm guilty of not caring as much as I should have now, as much as I should in competitive, but that's because mainly I'm just trying to play the same character over and over and over again. And I am seeing a marked increase in my McCree skills. I'm sure, like, hey, fuck that guy. Like, a lot of people think I hate McCree, but I actually really like McCree. That's why I do a lot of videos. That's why I play him so much, and that's why it really seems like Blizzard is picking on him. But realistically, I'm sure I can play almost any other character and just find all these other ways that Blizzard picks on him. But I've got, like, at least 30 hours on most characters, and after that much time on McCree, God, they fucking pick on it. Anyways, like, I don't want to get too locked into my rant about McCree, but the point I'm trying to get at is, when luck is the biggest factor in your game, then you can't expect any amount of playing better or adjusting your strategy on a wide scale. Not an individual game. Obviously, you can have actually a big impact in individual games. If you're, you know, playing a shitty character, you can counter them and actually have a pretty big impact in the game. But the point is, over, you know, 12 people all kind of trying to do that, and you having an equal chance of having levers or people who don't care on your team or the enemy team, then it will just never not be luck. So really, if you are trying to rank up, if you are passionate about trying to get a higher rank in Overwatch, just for, I don't know why, like maybe for bragging purposes, or maybe, you know, you're a YouTuber and you want to justify being able to dispense advice by, like, only showing footage where you're a master in your videos, then my best advice to you is to just never fucking play solo queue. It's just always going to be chance. If you really want to rank up, what you need to do is get a group of the same people who are good at the game and try to consistently play with them so you build your strategies. They don't even need to be that good at the game, to be honest. Like, you can find ways to make bad players, or the weakest links in your chain, still effective. I'm sure we've all seen situations where we've played against a team where they've got at least one or two people who everyone's like, holy shit, that guy's really fucking good, but you actually get someone to counter them and the game wins. So teamwork is important, but in public games, and if you can do that, that's great. But you're operating off the assumption that everyone is always equally likely and unlikely to be team players and not team players in public games. So really, to be ranking up, you want to be minimizing luck and leaving it to just skill, and by playing solo queue, you're leaving luck as the biggest factor and making skill the absolute smallest factor. So you will, like, I'm not trying to say there's ways you can't climb, because obviously there are, but you have to realize that even your biggest changes, your best luck streaks, your best winning streaks probably are just luck. And your best losing streaks probably are just luck too. So you have to realize that, like, sometimes it can feel like you're playing really bad, but for the most part, you will just always be flipping that coin. So, like I said, take it with a grain of salt when the YouTuber says the best way to rank up in solo queue, because the best way to rank up in solo queue probably isn't very much different from what you're doing right now. I'm sure you're doing some things right and a few things wrong, and you can tweak some of the few things wrong. But really, the best way to rank up is to just put in the fucking hours. That's almost that's it. Eventually, you're going to hit a high enough luck streak to finally get up your, you know, to rank yourself up. But if you're not in a position to do that, there's just not a whole hell of a lot you can do.
Sterben nicht.
Thank you.